Hello and welcome to App Spy. This is the channel upon which we do all of our iOS App Store related streamings. My name's James Gilmore, that down there is Peter Wellington.
Hi.
And today it's Monday, and that generally means Genre Busters, which is the series we've started. And every week we pick a genre or type of game, we play 3 or 4, maybe 5 of them, which we believe to be the best games, best examples of that genre, and then you can vote for them at the end and see which one you think is best. As today is the release of Watch Dogs, the brand new game from Ubisoft, which is that third-person, open-world, hacky-type adventure. We've gone with hacking as our theme today. So the first thing we'll start off with, this isn't part of the actual vote, by the way. We're just introducing you to something we're going to expand on a bit later. So, this is the accompanying app that goes with it. It's called ctOS, Watch Dogs Companion App.
Right, rolls off the tongue. Yeah.
I know, right? It's pretty like thing. And someone's pointed out already. Yes, it is Tuesday. That's true because I'm in Bank Holiday Monday mode. It was Bank Holiday for us in the UK, so we had yesterday off, and today's our first day back. So my head says it's Monday, but the calendar actually says it's Tuesday. So yeah, fair point there. Anyway, what we're going to show you here, very briefly, this is the accompanying app that goes with the Watch Dogs game. Many of you may have already received your orders today of Watch Dogs if you're big console players, or downloaded it on via PC or PSN or whatever, and are playing through the console game, or about to as we speak. This is the companion app. You may have noticed that now big budget games have companion apps to go with them. We've had most noteworthy ones being, I suppose, there was an Assassin's Creed Pirates one, wasn't there? Like, Pirates was a separate game, but they had an Assassin's Creed Black Flag companion app, didn't they?
Companion app for that, which gave you a little map you could wander around. That was nice, wasn't it?
That was about it, really.
Yeah,
but yeah, they had that. Hooray for that. What else did you have? There was Halo ones that would give you, again, map views of the area, and that was about it. But they usually do it, and to be honest with you, they're not generally very good. They're just kind of throwaway accompaniments to get you to track your data from a mobile place. And that's not really interesting. There wasn't very much game there, put it that way. This one, however, the one to go with Watch Dogs, actually is a game, for all intents and purposes. Apparently. Because
surprised.
I do sound genuinely surprised, because what you do is you apparently... Oh, look at this. Look at all the flex in my map. This is great. What you do is you sign in. You've got to be on Uplay accounts. The whole game runs through Ubisoft's Uplay system, and provided you have an account, you can seek out your friends or random other people, and then enter into a kind of battle with them, in which the person controlling from iPhone or iPad takes control of the cops and the helicopters and the kind of law enforcement aspect of the city. And the other player plays as Aiden, the guy who's the protagonist in Watch Dogs, and is trying to escape pursuit. And so you enter into a cat and mouse police versus criminal chase over every platform. So it's from iOS, but you can play against people on PC or on your PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. So it's properly cross-platform. This is all in theory, though, because I've tried to get it working, and at the moment we can't get it working. And as someone says, make explosions happen. We have sort of been trying. Now what I'm going to try and do is initiate a quick match, right?
Okay.
This may or may not work, I'm not sure. So it's giving me at least a brief tutorial at first. So, repair. Your opponent can damage your helicopter by shooting at it or hacking it. Let's see what happens when it's hacked. So this is kind of the tutorial that we've got. What I have to do is tap the plus symbol up here and select repair. So I control the helicopter, and also I can control police cars as well and summon them into the game. That's just giving you a little startup tutorial. We're going to do a quick match search for a player. If not, I'll go into the tutorials and show you how it all works, basically. Because we're not probably going to be able to find a live game. However, later on in the week, as I've said before, we're going to make a video in which I record myself playing the actual game, because I've got a copy of that, and Peter's going to grab the iOS app, and we'll do a head-to-head, and we'll make a kind of versus video that we'll put up on the App Spy YouTube channel.
I think I'm going to be pretty good at it because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I am very good at strategy games. Oh god, this is going to go badly for me, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. Because at the moment I'm just trying to find a random person to match to have a competition with, and at the moment they can never seem to find any.
This is launch day woes, isn't it?
It
servers
really is.
Are always there's never enough servers. Everyone's downloading.
No, and I can't fight myself. So let me show you how to do let's show you the helicopter tutorial, just to show you a brief idea of how the game's going to work.
It's like a taster for the video.
Yeah, absolutely. So the helicopter is your avatar, and you can control it. So if I put my finger on this blue circle, you can see where it is, and I can drag, and that's pulling the helicopter in a particular direction. So if I release my finger, then you get an area of influence that expands. So you can control objects and things like traffic lights and cause problems like you can in the actual Watch Dogs game. You can influence and hack the traffic system and stuff like that. So to manipulate that, they must be in Wi-Fi radius of the helicopter. So that's the circle of area effect you can see right there. So for example, if I were to click on that, that just gives you the that's the very quick tutorial. Let me show you the heat points one. So these are heat points, and they can reach a maximum of 20. What you have to do is stay close to the vehicle that you're pursuing. In this case, here's the red one down here. And it shows you in the top left-hand corner the heat points. What that allows you to do, they are points that you can then spend on, for example, getting another helicopter up there maybe, or getting some vehicles up there or something like that. So as I hover directly over him, I can gain a point. There you go. He's gained a heat point. And that will eventually allow me to sort of do bonus stuff. I've now got to try and stay on his tail though. Without the heat points, you won't be able to use the special powers like police forces and stuff like that. The other thing, because your helicopter's got a dude with a gun on board, and he'll be able to take pot shots at the car. So I'm assuming that when you're actually playing the game, say for example I was taking control of this and you were playing Watch Dogs, in the game a helicopter would appear behind you and start chasing you down the high street and shooting you.
Yeah.
So it would be like interacting in real time. We're going to show that actual footage in a video, like in a day or two's time, so don't worry, we will have that coming. But just at the moment, we're showing you little bits and pieces of how the game works. And so we'll do ctOS incidents as well. So depending on what your opponent does, so if you're playing someone who's actually playing the game on a console or PC, they might create incidents. Like this, yes. And if you encounter an incident, that'll give you heat points. So for example, if they're playing through the game and they hit a pedestrian, so they crash into a random dude, you gain points for that, because that's like a criminal activity. And so the more damage they do to things and areas around you, the more points you get, the more things you can summon. So it all works in your favor. Now, for example, here I can hack a traffic light, which I'm going to do right now. So the opponent's headed towards a traffic light, and if you know anything about the game, and you've seen all those E3 trailers, you know that he can type in and hack the security system of the city, and then change all the traffic lights to red or green or whatever, and cause a massive pile-up. So this is the same thing here, because I'm...
Why would he want to do that? Why would he want to?
Well,
what a horrible, mean game.
If the police are chasing you, then you might want to cause a massive pile-up and stop the police from...
Why are you making everybody else's day bad?
So I can do this, and I can arm a blocker, which is an object which, well, I would assume will fire out something and stop him in his tracks. There you go, bam, it's hit him. It shows damage done to the vehicle, and that'll help slow him down. So this is the kind of game that we're talking about. From the iOS player's perspective, it's like a top-down, almost real-time strategy thing, where you're chasing a guy around and you're sort of setting up booby traps for him to hit when he hits him. From the player's point of view, a guy playing on console or PC, presumably it's the normal third-person perspective running around the city, and just helicopters keep appearing overhead, but other people are controlling them. Which I like the idea of. That all sounds really neat to me, and so we're going to test it out and we're going to put it into a proper video and show you how that works. Okay. However, in the meantime, this is the hacky game. So Genre Busters hacking, we're going to show you the best hacking stuff on the iPhone and or iPad. We'll start off with this one, which is called Pone. So, I went on to both Pocket Gamer and AppSpy, and I found what you consider the best hacking games on both sites. So I've played some of these, I haven't played other ones, but I'm going to show you how they work right now. So I'm going to resume this game. There we go, and tap on that one. You can only capture nodes that are connected to nodes you already own. That's good to know. So, what this is, I am the blue box down at the bottom. I am trying to hack this system, and the system is represented by these grey squares. And what you have to do is capture them all before your opponent captures them first. Now, I do that simply by tapping the nearby boxes, and as you can see, anything with a white circle around it means it's close and I can hack it. Every so often, as I'm moving through the area, I can try and hack the red squares as well. So the red squares are advancing at the same time as me, and it's my job to try and make sure I get them all first. I can also use this encrypt function. What that does is it makes it twice as hard for your opponent to hack your own little nodes. So it acts as a kind of defense against the reds. Because as you can see, I'm now commandeering some of the red nodes, but at the same time, they're commandeering some of mine.
Okay.
So it's kind of a race against the clock to try and capture all of theirs whilst preventing them from capturing all of yours. Now, as I was sort of talking during the first half of that, these guys are catching me up, so it's kind of 50-50 at the moment. So I'm very quickly trying to hack as much as I can. You can only really do one at a time, though.
So if this was like a movie from the 90s, this would be the bit where you'd hear the keyboard going clack, 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 and then like lots of green text and that sort of thing. That's kind of what's happening in the background, and this is like a visual representation, much like in the movie Toys, starring Robin Williams. It's like a visual representation of what's actually happening.
Yeah,
I think.
that's not the first time you've mentioned Toys either. What you've got a problem, an obsession.
Listen,
with that game.
I bought it recently and I can't stop watching it. It's amazing.
It's really bad and slightly creepy as well.
Yeah, it is also both of those things, which is why I quite like it. So first of all, things I love about this.
Okay.
Character name is Cypher.
Well, obviously, it had to be a very
Obviously.
Matrix-style-y thing. Yes.
Your opponent is called Ghost. Again, brilliant. I like the fact that it is like trying to be sort of digital, like with it's almost like it's pixels and like things moving down the screen. I really like I like the style. So this is this? I'm assuming this came out quite early on in the iPhone's life, like maybe a couple of years ago.
I think it's a couple of years old. Yeah. It's based on a more warring kind of setup than other games on the list. So the idea is this is like a competition between you and another hacker. So what you're doing is working your way. Here's the tournament grid you can see right now, and I've captured 2 of the nodes on the overall tournament grid, and I'm now going to do battle in this one. Hopefully, if I complete this, it'll unlock the spike ability, and I'll gain a new ability. But basically, it's a kind of a test of both timing and strategy. So you need to do it quite quickly in order to beat your opponents, because they're ever advancing across the board and you need to unlock it quicker to fight them back. But at the same time, you can see how certain nodes are linked to other nodes, so you have to tactically pick which ones you want to... There you go, you can only do one at a time, which ones you want to get and which ones give you the best access to other nodes, because otherwise you might kind of upgrade yourself into a corner.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to do that one, I'm going to try and hack this red one, which takes a little bit longer because it's red.
I really love the art style of this. I really like the character portraits as well. That very sort of 90s, I'm wearing a long black jacket. I've just come out of the Matrix movie.
It is very Matrix.
And I can't wait for the sequel. Do you remember that time
it's
when
going to be great.
You couldn't wait for the Matrix sequel, could you? You're like, oh, it's going to be so good.
Yeah.
And then...
how robbed were we? I'm nearly there. Oh, hello. I've been spiked. Encrypt my nodes to protect them from being spiked. It looks like it's outright killed a couple of my nodes. However, not a problem, because I have beaten them. That's great. There is an ability up in the top right-hand corner, which you tap and then tap on one of your pre-captured nodes. What that does is it locks it, called encryption, and as I say, it makes it twice as difficult for them to hack it. I've now gained a new ability, though, which is an offensive power called Spike that temporarily disables enemy nodes. Apparently the encrypted nodes aren't affected, but if they're unencrypted, then you can go ahead and disable them, and that takes their blocks out of play and makes it easier for you to win the board. So it's all very strategic. Right, new match here. The new spike can disable several enemy nodes. You should use it whenever it is charged. So that's 2 things I now got to keep my eye on, both the encrypt and the spike options. Here we go. I'm going to attack this red one first, because I pretty much have to. Dark red nodes are powered down and disconnected. You just divided the enemy network. Oh, cool. Ooh, that's good. So the enemy network has to be joined together. So there was a string of red nodes, and because I've stuck a blue node in between them, that's deactivated all the nodes on the left-hand side, and as you can see, I can now hack them twice as fast, which is bloody brilliant. I still can't use my encrypt power. It's still charging up. I'm going to encrypt that one there, so now they can't hack it. That's good. I'm still waiting for the spike to power up. Once I've got that, I'll spike a couple of them and see what happens. Oh, they've spiked me. See those 2 nodes taken out? However, I'm going to spike them. Bam, I've taken 2 of them out. That's great. So now I'm going to hack this. Oh, nuts.
Okay, so if you are just joining us at the moment, then hello. This is App Spy and Pocket Gamers Twitch stream. We're doing Genre Busters today. We're playing the games that are like the best hacking games on iOS. Games with hacking in them, I suppose.
Yes.
I am looking at the chat room at the moment. Hello, chat room. James, you are doing admirably in this sort of hacking game, Pone combat hacking. Is it Pone?
Pone.
Pone?
Pone, as in pone. The
So
internet's adage.
I haven't been pawned. I've been pwned.
You've been pwned in true early 2000s internet speak.
I don't think I've ever been pwned. I think I think before. I try to avoid sort of first-person shooters online generally, and if I do go on them, I do sometimes go on them. I tend to just mute everybody. Yeah. So if you do have any questions and you are in the chat room, then do put them in there, and I will relay them to James. If I can't answer them, then I'm sure Caffeine Dreamer, who is our community manager, he will be able to answer them as well. I think that this is a delight, this video game. I think that this is very clearly a couple of years old now. Like, I can imagine me playing this on my iPhone 3G.
Sure. It's quite good fun, actually. I'm rather enjoying it. It's simple stuff and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to get infinitely more complicated. I can just tell, whoa, I've now got a virus, and in order to get rid of the virus, I have to tap on every single one of the little green blob things. Ooh, almost got them. I notice also that if you've partially hacked a node and then you stop halfway to attack another node, it remembers how much you've hacked, so you can go back and take it out quite quickly. Oh, there they go. More viruses. I'm going to spike a couple of them now. Bam. I've spiked a node or two just to slow them down, and I need to encrypt another one to stop them hacking more. So they are advancing, the buggers. I should also point out you can also move the map around a little bit if you want to.
So,
give yourself an alternative view.
So this is £1.99, $2.99. Any in-app purchases, do we know?
I don't think so, no.
Is this a time when the iOS App Store was pure?
Pure and unsullied, yes, Peter, I believe so. Them were the days, weren't they?
The days. I think today might be a day for looking back and remembering nice things. The Matrix. Days without IAPs, where we didn't have to worry. Didn't even have to have that conversation.
Before they were good.
The movie Hackers. All sorts of things. I think when games weren't widescreen.
I know.
Yes, absolutely.
Those were good times. Someone's saying that they quite enjoy the original hacking mechanic in BioShock. I was a big fan of the pipe hacking mechanic in BioShock. I actually thought it was genuinely good, which some people took issue with. But
that was the one that was basically Pipe Mania for the Amiga,
but it was good and it made sense because it was underwater world. I liked the idea everything was powered by water. It wasn't, but it kind of fitted in. I quite liked it. Yeah. So anyway, that was Pone Combat Hacking. Simple block hacking game. It's £1.99 or $2.99. You can get that right now if you want to. Let's have a look at 868 because this is, again, I booted it up earlier. This is going super lo-fi. This is a hacking roguelike game, right? So, hang on. I remember this. You're looking at a black screen, Twitch, because this doesn't let you take video out of it. Because I went to do a video about this last year. I knew I'd heard of it before and I'd played it. Oh, hello. No, hang on. Is it working? No, it won't let you do it. It shows you a brief shot of the loading screen and then it cuts you out.
What?
Screw this game.
No, 868 hack.
No.
No.
Out you go then, I'm afraid.
Get out, 868. Right.
And it's a highly reviewed game, but it won't let you stream. I just remembered. My God.
No, not having that. Get out.
I know, that's fine. In that case, and balls to that, we're moving straight to... let's do Deus Ex. Why not? Now, you might not necessarily associate Deus Ex with a full-on hacking game, because obviously it's a first-person shooter set in the Deus Ex universe and tied in very neatly to Deus Ex Human Revolution over on the consoles. However, if you do know anything about the series, you are familiar with the fact that it's all about cybernetic implants and all that kind of jazz. And there are hacky bits. So, if you happen to upgrade that particular area of your skill tree, you might become a hacky person, and that will allow you to do things like hack cameras and hack doors and do all that kind of crap as well. So there is that hacking element built in. This, and I left it at just a point before we were going to do some hacking. So if you remember playing Human Revolution, you might remember that you'll come across certain areas. So I've just snuck past this. Let me scroll on here. You can see this automatic camera thing right here. That's a turret that's going to blow me in the face if I dodge out, so I'm not going to do that. terribly bad idea. Someone's saying like an app can actually avoid being screen captured. Didn't know that. It doesn't happen very often. Few people do it, and I don't know if it's a glitch they hadn't thought about. But yeah, some apps behave a bit weirdly when you try to plug them into a capture device.
It's not a sort of like active thing as far as we can tell. I mean, I don't know why 868 Hack wouldn't want to be captured, because it's an indie game that needs publicity, basically.
Yeah. I just don't know if they've installed it or activated. But as you can see, I've skipped past that cannon, and I'm now at a door, and I can now hack the keypad. So there's no code. If I could find a security code, I could enter it. So I have to tap the hack button. Bam. So this is the tutorial at the very beginning, the first time you do any hacking. So you tap it to begin hacking the terminal. And when hacking, your goal is to take control of a device's registries to bypass the hacking system. Your starting point is the blue I/O port, so that game we last played, the one that actually worked, not entirely dissimilar to this. So travel from node to node is accomplished by using unidirectional or bidirectional bridges. You tap the directory node nearest to your I/O port to open a selection wheel. So I'm going to do that right now, and that contains the programs that can be used against it. In this case, I've got the flag, which is going to be capture, so I tap that, boom, and it captures it. So now, every time you capture a node, there's a chance that the network will detect the presence. If they find you, if you are alerted to the security system, then they will start hacking themselves and start hedging towards you, and if they don't make it in time, then you get caught out and the door gets locked and you're screwed. So that's what's at stake. Okay. So the higher the node rating, the higher the chance the network will detect your presence. And if you're detected, the network will activate a subroutine that will try and capture your I/O port and kick you out. So I can now tap on the registry and capture the registry, and it does so. Boom. You can see the percentage going up there. Bam. And I've been granted access to that room. So that was a very simple example of the hacking. But it has opened the door and allowed me to go through here. Let me crouch down. Now, Deus Ex Human Revolution, Deus Ex The Fall. I played this a while back and did the review. You played it not so long ago, didn't you, Peter?
Absolutely. I grabbed one of those MFI controllers and I thought to myself, do you know what, I'm going to finally play this. And then it didn't work. Because technically, I think technically it isn't meant to work. They've sort of added the information to play it with an MFI controller, but when you start trying to play it doesn't seem to work, or at least it didn't when I was tinkering with it. Now, hands down, I adore the first 2/3 of this game. I think it's a fantastic game when it's not too fast-paced, when you're not getting killed by absolutely everything. I think that this is a really great example of a first-person shooter on iOS. I think it's the slower these games are, the better, because obviously you're doing touchscreen stuff. Like I can see with you, on the actual screen itself, where you've got those little yellow marks that are sort of moving around underneath your thumbs where you're playing. Touchscreen controls generally, I find, don't work too well with first-person shooters, but because this one's quite slow, you can kind of make up for it a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, everyone knows I'm not a big fan of the FPSs on touchscreens because the controls are always a bit of a compromise. And as you can see here, the way they get around a lot of the issues is by including a lot of soft keys. So when you kind of jump into cover like I just did there, you see there's an icon that appears at the bottom of the screen, and then you tap it, and then you can go flat to the wall, and that's how they get around it. It's a workaround. It's not ideal.
It's definitely a workaround, yeah.
It ain't too bad. Like, the feeling I had when playing this was not like, oh, this is amazing, but I've actually played a lot worse. Which might sound like a kind of, negative comment.
Well, it sounds like it's sort of like a negative comment. But
I'm damning with faint praise, as they say. But it's not too bad. My concern was the fact that A, it's quite expensive, and B, let me shoot this guy in the back of the head.
Cool.
Oh, hello. I didn't mean to do that. That's not as well. I just unloaded like in near the guy's ear, because what it's supposed to do is supposed to do a slight lock on, and it didn't do it that time. So it shot him in the face instead, which wasn't what I was going for. Hello. Boom, got him. That worked.
Do you know what? I absolutely adore this game. I love its visuals. I love the fact that it's it's essentially an open world stealth game.
Yeah, there's not as much to do in this open world, I'll point out. But yes, it is an open world stealth game, and as with all the Deus Ex stuff, you get the choice whether you want to go through shooting everyone, like I'm doing now because the game wants me to do it. But generally, if you want to play the game properly, you want to sneak as much as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, do you know what, the style of it really is, obviously it looks really good for an iOS game anyway. Like the actual 3D effects look fantastic, that there's all sorts of bits and pieces. The animation is pretty good and all that sort of thing. But really, it's the gold look.
Yeah, they took directly from Human Revolution. It ties, 100% into the console and PC game,
So
which was brilliant.
Do we think that there's going to be a sequel?
The point is, this is episodic. So it's £4.99, which is, I think, $6.99. So it ain't cheap, right? And that's just for the first episode. And it lasts, I think you can play it through in about an hour, hour and a half.
Nah, it's about 3 or 4 hours long.
Really?
It's about 3 or 4 hours long.
I did it quicker than that.
Well, maybe I'm rubbish at Deus Ex, but like it took me about 3 or 4 hours, definitely.
Well, so it's sort of short-ish, and then they have promised that another episode is going to appear, but it hasn't happened yet. It's been out for bloody ages, and we see no second episode, so I'm a little bit suspicious. However, here we are at another door. I'm going to do another bit of hacking. This one, you get 5 attempts, so if you screw it up, you get more goes, but right, let's just dive straight in. So I'm at the blue. I'm going to hack Terminal 2. I'm trying to get to the green dot. He's hacked it 100%. I've been rumbled. Now you can see that the red security system is moving towards me, creeping towards hacking nodes at the same time. However, I'm hacking the last node and I should be okay, but you can see it edging closer, closer. Hurry up! Hurry up, damn you! Access granted. There we go. So I've now got 20 XP for that. What a result. And I've been let through to the next area.
You're a level of pro hacker that you wear shades inside at night.
Yes, that is what I do. I am the Bono of hacking. Well, that's good. That's good. Let me crouch down and avoid these buggers. Because really, the best way to play Deus Ex is to sneak. Everybody,
Do you think?
Absolutely, everybody knows this. This is not Call of Duty. The only true way to play Deus Ex is to sneak around, because that's what the game allows you. The problem with it was that, as people well know, in the console game, you would sneak around for ages. Let's hack a computer. You would sneak around all over the bloody place, and power up your guy. Get yourself a nice stealth build where you can do all your computer hacking and everything, and you wouldn't use your weapons at all. You'd be smothering people from behind. And it was all brilliant. And then you get to a boss,
and you'd be like, dude,
which can only be defeated with guns. And you were woefully underpowered, and you just got your ass handed to you because the boss fights were actually developed by a different company. They outsourced the boss battles.
That was in the main game, wasn't it? It's not the same here. I don't think.
No, it's not the same here.
But that sort of thing is exactly the same with this game. As in, there are boss fights, and they are ridiculous. Like the ending boss battle is like the final third of it is really poor because it basically you can't stealth through the last couple of sections of that game. It just ends up being this massive firefight because thematically, as part of the actual narrative, there is a big firefight. It asks you to go all, guns are blazing and that sort of thing. But it's so boring at that point, and it doesn't work. It just...
Oh, crap. I'm going to get a grenade lobbed at me. Or has already been lobbed at me. Die, you bugger.
But for the first 2/3, well, good. Now, I, personally, I'm one of these people. I got it quite cheap because once in a while they'll sort of like bring it down in like a sale, that kind of a thing.
They will.
I think for like a couple of quid, this is an absolute steal. Like, I definitely think you should play it because you get a couple of hours of really good FPS RPG.
Sure.
But I don't know. Full price is a bit
much, maybe.
Much.
There you go. So that counts as a hacking game. There's hacking all the way through it, but obviously it's an FPS kind of game. So it sort of straddles a few genres, but we reckon it's hack worthy. So there you go. Deus Ex The Fall, like you say, £4.99 or $6.99. So let's move on to, I think, the most recent one on our list, because we're going to have to excuse 868 Hack, because it's not working properly.
Yeah.
Republique, which we've mentioned in the stream, and I've never actually streamed before. So that seemed to be the right thing to do, to actually show you it a little bit today. Now, this is a game, another episodic one, in fact, that is very much influenced, I suppose, by... it's like 1984, the game. So it feels very Orwellian in as much as it's showing you this future in which everyone's being surveyed and you're constantly being watched by cameras, and it's kind of a police state and a fascist dictatorship and all of that. So it's doing that, putting you into that world, and you get introduced to a protagonist, a lassie whom you must... I assume it's going to remember where I am. A lassie whom you must try to assist her in her escape from this compound thing. So we're going to dive straight in here. So here you go. Here am I. So I control the girl, but kind of indirectly. I can tell her to move from place to place to place. But the way I do this is I am viewing the arena through a security camera. And what I can do is I can jump between different security outlets. So, for example, mobile phones and other cameras, and shift my perspective. So if I tap this eye in the top right-hand corner, it shows me, like, this is the kind of other view of the world. And if I tap on something that has an iris symbol on it, like this over here, I will jump, and now I'm viewing the corridor from the perspective of that camera. So I'm hopping between viewing locations. What that allows me to do is I can then move around and see what's around the corner. And I can watch out for guards and things like that. See, I can jump to this camera over here now. And I can turn that around. And I can see now that there is a guard called Sanchez in this room. And there's also a locked door that I can't get past. So I have to be careful when I beckon her forward that I don't trounce her across straight in front of that guard and get her brutally killed.
Right.
So it's, you know, it's handy things to remember when you're trying to be...
So why is she in prison again?
Because things...
Right.
Oh, because terrible oppressive state. I can't actually remember.
Is that literally it? Like, literally the government?
Yeah.
Right.
And there is slightly more to it than that, I will say. Okay. But, yeah, it's about oppressive-y, police-statey stuff. So I'm jumping between cameras and mainly just investigating. So look, I've hopped into this camera, and it's now zooming in on a newspaper. And it's giving you information about the world, so you can kind of find out what's going on. In this case, we're talking about the arrival of some person. Don't know whom. So it's newspaper issue acquired. Yay me. So that's a little collectible item. There's a door I can attempt to hack. Again, more hacking.
So newspaper?
Yeah, there's a newspaper because this is the future in so much as... It's the future by way of 1984. As in the year 1984, presumably. So now I've just... I forgot about this. I've just beckoned her towards this box that was on the one of the rooms and opened it. And there is a little mobile phone thing in it, and on that phone is like a little AI called Bradley who is supposed to help her out. And he communicates entirely in a little weird voice, Stephen Hawkins-esque voice, and emoticons. So he's got little emoticons. So he's got the little high creature now.
Oh, I like it.
It is quite, to be fair, it's quite cute and one of the sweeter elements of the game because it's all quite dystopian and dark. I'm hanging up on the guy now.
Yeah.
Right. So let me swing the camera around. All of this I'm doing by just swiping on the screen, of course. But as you can see here, like that just shows me what the room looks like, up and down, move around. But if I want to see what I can interact with, I have to do that. So for example, I can type the pin code, but I don't have one, so that's no good at all. I'm going to jump to this camera that's right above her head. I think she's called Faith, if I remember correctly. So what I'm going to do is, it shows you the destination. I'm going to tap on that hot spot, and now Faith is going to wander towards the destination. Now I can hear the guards talking, because as we saw, there was a guy called Sanchez in this room that's right next to her. So now I'm tapping on that area behind the boxes and making her crouch down, and then I'm going to jump to the camera, which I'll do by switching to the alternative view, and then boom, I've been warped into that camera. So you can see her crouched behind the box, and you can now see Sanchez in this room. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure by going to jump into the room where Sanchez is. So let me look down. There's Sanchez. I'm just tapping on him. That gives you his passport details, his full information, his aliases, height, weight, and everything. So that's handy. So I've found out about Sanchez. What I'm also going to do is hack his computer. 4318.
Looks like one of my colleagues has left the pin code sitting out.
And now the little mobile phone AI is talking to me and explaining. So I've got 4318. That's a code. So that's allowed me to access the brig, which is what I'm going to try and do. So now I need to just double check. This Omni door is closed. Don't want to go in there. Good stuff. Let me jump out to this camera over here. Bam. And now I'm going to I'm going to tap this information spot. And it zooms in and gives me like views of the posters and the newspapers like we saw before. So precals hide in the strangest places. So this is more kind of right-wing propaganda, which this world is full of.
I see. Okay. So this is the Kickstarter game, isn't it? I was just remembering now. Like this was a game that was funded on Kickstarter. It's by Ryan Payton, who basically saved Metal Gear Solid 4 from not being a complete train wreck. And he also did some basically did some bits and pieces with Halo, I think.
Okay.
I think he did anyway. And I don't know. Like this is a sort of. It almost feels like a bit passive stealth them up. It feels a bit like. What's that classic Sega CD game in which girls are trapped? Night Trap. It feels a lot like Night Trap, in which it's sort of voyeuristic. You're looking around cameras and like guiding a lady so that she doesn't get killed.
Yeah, it is a bit.
So I don't know. I mean, is this good? Like, it feels very hands off. It feels like you're gonna.
I liked the idea behind it. What we've said, and I've now got some what looks like mace or something. Yeah, pepper spray. Awesome. I can now use that. So I've unlocked that room and I can get pepper spray. The thing about this game is it's presented quite nicely. Firstly, it is sort of ambitious in what it's trying to do. It's it's taking its world seriously and trying to build this terrible, omnipresent world threat and nasty dystopian society, which is all admirable. I think that's great. And what it's trying to do is emphasize the stealth gameplay aspect of it rather than fighting. Again, something I really like. Problem is, the control element is a little bit iffy. So, for example, jumping through between the different security cameras is fine, but getting Faith to do what she's told can be a bit of a pain in the arse. And we're in a very simple area of the game right now, but it can be a bit troublesome to make her obey. She'll often walk in front of areas and you want her to crouch, and she doesn't crouch. She stands up and gets spotted, and then you call her something rude in French.
Like, what would you call her? Le petit déjeuner.
You'd call her breakfast. Exactly, that's what you would do. Now, the guard has turned around and faced the other way, so I am sneaking past him. I'm now going to jump to the next security camera. Boom. And I'm going to jump to guide Faith over there. There's a locker. I would like to go and investigate that locker. And I think she's going to get into it. Yeah, she's getting into the locker. Which is wise if there was someone coming. At the moment, there isn't anybody coming, so nothing to be afraid of. So let me unlock the door. The door is currently, it says, unlocked. Let me hit that. Oh, actually, that's locked it. So now it's unlocked. Brilliant. So now what I need to do is jump through to this other side of the wall. There you go. Here's the other side of the room. And I'm going to get Faith to appear. Let me just have a quick check around to make sure no one's wandering up and down. They aren't. This is good. So I can turn the eye off and get Faith to come in through the door. Oh, a dude's just appeared, though. Quick, get in there. Get in there. There's another locker. I'm going to try and get her to climb inside. Oh, no, she's grabbing stuff from the locker. She's got more pepper spray. That's good to know. I'm just going to get her to hide in there just for a moment. Because there's a guy who's smooching. Yeah, there he is. He's mooching around the background, and I need to see what his path is. A lot of stealth games are based around this, where you have to wait for people's see their walking pattern, wait until the right moment, and then choose the perfect time to jump out and sneak past them without being noticed.
Yeah. Games with people that have sight cones.
Yes, exactly. Classic Metal Gear blue things, which would be really useful if people did that in real life. Do you not think? That would make things so much easier.
I would have to pay for like no sweets ever. Like I would just go into the local shop and be like, stealing these blue sour raspberry things that I quite like.
You're going to use it for crime? I was going to use it for good.
What good would you use it for?
I don't know. I'd be able to see if people were coming to attack me, and then I can dodge them and stay out of the way, and I don't know, save a family of ferrets from being attacked by an angry anti-ferret.
But I get sweets out of this. What do you get?
Yeah, but you're doing a crime, a bad crime, and that's not good. I read that somewhere. My mummy told me.
Sure. Somebody in the chat has said that this is Repairman Man says Republic was Watch Dogs before Watch Dogs.
Well,
do you think that's true?
I mean, I suppose it was in development at the same time as Watch Dogs, so it's got that same idea, and obviously it's one of the reasons we're showing it today. Of it is hacking security cameras, that sort of thing, and
dystopian future.
Yeah, dystopian future, the same way as Watch Dogs, yada yada yada. This is taking a much more stealthy aspect to it, and it's using that almost Resident Evil fixed camera position, but you're tapping to move the character around. So I'm going to move her at this point because this guy Cadagone is just standing here like a moron. I've got one guy I need to get past, and I don't quite know how I'm going to do it.
Do you know, one of the things that's really pulling me out of this game, and it definitely seems like a game that's very story-driven, but it keeps, like, I keep seeing spray paint of the company that made it, Camouflage, and in the passports, whenever you see, like, these fake documents and stuff, it just says Kickstarter backer, and I'm immediately just taken out of the story. Like, there is something to be said about having an intact fourth wall, like having the ability to actually just keep a universe rather than sort of going, hey, it's a video game, remember guys? Haha. Like, it just so much of this feels like it's trying to be a story, like it's episodic, it's narrative driven, it's by a guy who is very much from games that are wide-spreading and long narratives. But this one just feels like it just feels like it's constantly like trying to pull you out of it all of the time, whether it's the fact that you've got the UI for the cameras, which is obviously part of the game itself, or whether it's the fact that it's telling you that a Kickstarter backer has been all like, here's thanks for giving us money.
Yeah, I'd agree with you about the Kickstarter backer thing. I mean, whilst it's a nice novelty for the player,
that
Kickstarter
one person,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not especially good for everyone else. Oh, this guy's finally moved. He was just standing there like a dick for ages, and now he's actually moving.
Lazy.
Okay, let's have a look. She's poking her head around the corner. I need to wait for him to turn around. What I'm going to try and do is dash across. There we go. He's moved. Now, quick. Run, woman, run! There she is. She's stealthing past. Brilliant. Now I'm in here, so I've avoided... No. This is exactly what I'm talking about. She's decided to turn around and go back. I totally didn't want her to do that. Okay, she's now in a new area by the atrium. Let's go up here, and then I'm going to switch to the security camera that is up there. There you go, bam. So as you can see, when you go into security camera mode, everything freezes. So it's a handy way to collect your thoughts if you need to work out what to do next. Someone's saying something interesting. I haven't played Republique yet, from JJEMCM, because I don't trust that they're going to finish it. Like, that is a problem with episodic content, isn't it? Because at the moment, it's like the only series I can think of that's reached conclusion is the first series of The Walking Dead. That was a proper episodic game that they released, and it was 5 chapters, and they did it, and they released it, and it was all great. There's a lot of other stuff. Deus Ex The Fall. We've only had 1 chapter so far. Where's the rest of it? Wolf Among Us, the 2nd chapter took ages to appear. Now they're coming thick and fast, but there was a massive, like, 3 or 4 month gap between the first episode and the 2nd episode. And we were left wondering, like, is it ever going to turn up? It's quite unreliable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. On a similar sort of vein, like, there's a Half-Life episode that would have been quite nice to get through.
True.
But yeah, I think that's the danger of episodic gaming, isn't it? It's you sort of have this faith that the company is going to tell all of the story, and ultimately, if a game isn't making money, they're not going to sacrifice the company to tell the story that they want to tell if it's not working out for them.
Yep.
And I guess with mobile, like, if you don't hit big, you kind of have to walk away, because premium games like Republique, like, they aren't as big business as you wish that they might be. You know, like, the big business stuff at the moment is free to play, and that's not ever going to be really episodic gaming, because you run out of content eventually, you know.
That is true.
So I don't know, I'm also of that opinion of sometimes I like to wait to see whether or not games have conclusions. Like, I did that with Assassin's Creed on home console. So I recently just busted through like 3 or 4 games because I played the first one. I was just like, well, there's clearly a big story that's going to be told here, and I don't really trust that they're going to pull through on this one. And then they have been, like, they have. So I was just like, oh right. So I played about 100 hours worth of game. I'm doing the same with the Mass Effect games at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Like, just completed Mass Effect 2 because I had this dread that when they got to Mass Effect 2, if they didn't make a 3rd one, then I would have been like, I want to know what the game is all about.
That was never going to happen. So
do you know what I think?
I would have killed a bitch. Yes, if that had happened, I would have gone mental.
You would have rocked up to BioWare and been like, "Hey, Dr. Greg and Dr. whatever your other name is.
What's his chops? Yeah.
What's his chops? Dr. What's his chops? Like,
I would have
Mass
gone.
Effect
I would
3,
have gone
come on.
proper mental.
What's happening with these aliens? Get on it."
So I adore me Mass Effect. It was the best thing ever. I'm just sticking my nose in this room, see if there's anything else to find. I don't think there is. I think we're
Have
all
a
right
peek
here.
around. So, if you are just joining us at the moment in the chat, then hello. This is Apps Blind Pocket Gamers Genre Busters. We're looking at hacking games with hacking as a theme. We have 3 games. We were going to play 4, but one of them, which we will not mention, could not be streamed, unfortunately. So there are 3, aren't there, that we're going to have played.
Yes, with an option on Watch Dogs, which we're going to actually deal with later. The Watch Dogs companion app that started off this whole event, and the fact that the real Watch Dogs game, the full console version, has been released today.
So there are 3 games that we're going to sort of vote on. We want to get your vote eventually on this as to which one you think is the coolest of the hacking games that we've shown you. So just to get you thinking now, so it's not a mad rush. There's Pone, yes,
Yep.
Pone combat hacking. There is Deus Ex: The Fall, and this, which is Republic. So have a think about which one you think is the best one, and don't put it in the chat room just yet. Have a quick think, and then we'll get a tally at the end of the show, and we'll declare a winner.
I'm in sneak mode right now because there's a dude in this room, and I have to try and get past him to my destination. The waypoint is shown by that orange crosshair, which you can see right there. However, this guy is skulking around his office, and I don't know when's best to make my move. Let me jump to this camera over here. That'll give me a slightly better view of the situation. Like I say, every time it goes into that blue security view mode, it is paused.
Right.
Let's see where Faith... Oh, Faith's gone up around the corner. Eek! So he's now standing here like a git. I need to wait for him to turn around so I can get past him.
So the battery symbol...
Yeah, that controls like this little PDA system thing that I have that helps me open doors and stuff like that. And every time I use it, it costs me points. So, right. He's turned around. I'm going to jump back to this security camera because I can see my destination a little clearer. I want to go there. Go, Faith, go. Oh, apparently I can't get there. That's not good. Right. Bugger. I thought that was my destination right there, but I think I have to go round a corner in order to get to it. This is alarming. Let me jump to this camera and see what we're doing. Oh, I see. There's my destination. Oh, crap. All right. Go, go.
Go.
Run, run.
Come on, leg it. Come on. Why has the guy got, like... It looks like he's been eating lots of chocolate.
Oh, I've been rumbled.
Looks like he's got a big mask on, but he actually... I think he's just been sort of scoffing Mars bars.
Is he? Oh, I think I got rumbled.
Oh, man.
Oh, did I? No, I didn't. I'm alright. She's making her way up the stairs. We're now kind of this lush palatial area. If you watch it from the very beginning, if you play the game from the top, then you discover it's very French revolutionary. I think the developer themselves is a French developer, Camouflage.
Yeah.
And they have... The idea is that you're being stuck into this horrible little environment, which is that futuristic prison you saw. But above and around the area is this lush palatial area where all the upper crust live, not the plebs like us.
No.
So there you go. So I'm now stealthing my way around this bit. Let me open the all-seeing eye. Investigate this guy, Clark. He's a dude. I think you get points for doing that. Also, I encountered this hacking terminal way back when with all the screens and it allowed me to upgrade certain items. So if you discover objects throughout the game, you can then exchange them for cash, which later on gives you the ability to upgrade other abilities that you have. So that's always useful. Some Canadian dude. Is this another Kickstarter backer maybe? Possibly. I don't know. They all look very pissed off though. No one looks happy in their passport photos. Which is, I think, universally true in real life as well. No one looks happy in passport photos. Everyone looks miserable.
You're not allowed. I wanted to take a photo for my recent passport thing. And I was just like all smiling, happy and stuff. And then like somebody said to me, "Oh, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that."
It's true. You're not allowed to smile. You're absolutely right. I meant to do that because they have to give you that neutral, like, blank face like that, and that's what the guys need to see when they're at passport control. Because if you look all chirpy, then apparently that fries up. That's a short circuit with them. Yeah, they know you're definitely.
They're like, "Oh, he's
criminal.
He's trying to import. What would you be importing? It's sort of foreign sweets."
Foreign sweets.
Yeah, or like he's trying to bring in those Japanese Kit Kats that like taste like green tea. Or
he's the worst, isn't he?
He's the worst.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, man.
Right, these guys are talking. I'm waiting for them to leave the area so I can jump out from behind my cover. There she is. No, she's called Hope, not Faith. I was calling her Faith the whole way through. Same thing.
So literally the worst form of writing ever. Like, this is a metaphor.
Yeah.
Like,
So whenever you play your general generic main brown-haired bearded character called John Everyman, it's that level of subtlety we're talking about, right? Let me unlock this door. Have I done so? I think I need level 1 unlocking in order to do that, which I don't possess. What do we do now? I'm talking to Cooper.
oh,
You cannot open that door with your current version of the OmniView software. You need to update your software at a daemon thingy. Upgrade to version 1.0, and then you can go. The nearest daemon is in the commissary on the other side of the dorms. I'll add a waypoint. Thank you, techie person. Okay, so you get the idea. It's all hacktastic.
yeah.
Well, that's what it is. It's a bloody
No,
hack game.
you're right. It's hacktastic. No, you're completely right.
Yeah, so that's Republic. You can get the first episode right now and the second episode. We're up to part 2 now, and I think it's $2.99 per episode. And I think maybe you can buy a season pass as well, kind of like The Walking Dead. So that's available right now. However, your choice is to determine whether Republic or Pone, the first game we played, which I can bring up now, all that data hacking cube stuff, or Deus Ex The Fall. Whatever one you think is the best of the hacky games that we have played today.
Which is the most hacktastic.
You're not going to let that die, are you?
Really not going to let hacktastic go by. I think that's going to be the word of the week for me. Hacktastic.
Fine.
So yeah, while the chat room, which I am looking at, and Danny will be taking in all of the votes and scribbling down all the numbers and coming up with the winner. Let's talk. So, James, I know you're gonna hate me for saying this, but I think the best one, personally, is Deus Ex: The Fall, because I think the hacking, it plays in much better into the actual world that's being created than home combat hacking, for example, which is just kind of a bit. I like it. I like the way it plays, but it's the style of it looks kind of silly, and it's not really a universe or anything like that. Republic is very hacky, very much like this, Orwellian future, like somebody was saying in the chat. But for me, Deus Ex: The Fall goes into it a lot more because it's definitely this one person who's aggressively going through these levels and like definitely trying to get through things and would have access to equipment to hack. So for me, that's the most hacktastic of all the games. What about yourself? Where's your sort of personal opinion falling on this?
I liked what Republic's trying to do, and I admire its ambition. I think it has control issues which stop it from being the game it could be, so it's a bit stealth. It has issues around its stealth. This Pone game I actually quite like as a straight up puzzler. It's like, whereas in Deus Ex, for example, the hacking mechanic is an aspect of the game, in Pone, it is the whole game. So if you want a pure puzzle game that's like taking all those little bits from the other games you've played and making a full game out of it, that is kind of the purest of the hacky games, if you like. Whereas everything else, it just uses it as a small element. But I like the way it's integrated in a small way. That door hacking stuff gets a lot more complicated later on in Deus Ex. It isn't as simple as you first seen it there. But they integrate that stuff quite well, and it's always been one of the strengths of the Deus Ex franchise anyway, the way you can kind of choose your own path and choose your own technique. So let me have a look at what we're doing. So the genre's been named Hacktastic. So we've got someone for Pone, Republic, Deus Ex, Pone. Ooh, okay, all right, fair enough, interesting. I can see a winner so far. 30 seconds or so more voting, people.
Yep, 30 seconds, and then Danny will announce the winner in the chat live.
Right on. So there you go. Here's some Deus Ex just for your viewing pleasure.
I'm all afluster because of this now. So yeah, I guess for me, like, what I've realised about all these hacking games is that you can't. Some genres fit better with certain themes and ideas, and hacking is definitely like a sci-fi thing. You can't do a fantasy hacking game, right? But maybe someone should do a game about an orc hacking into the safe of an elf.
You think that's the niche that isn't being satisfied at the moment?
Yeah, copyright, trademark. I'm gonna email. I'm gonna post that to myself using a stamp with the Queen's face on it.
That's right. And she's going to approve it with her own beautiful approval eyes.
Yeah. Yes.
The Queen's own approval eyes. Come on, man. Pop out from behind the door. I know you're there.
Jerk.
He's launching grenades at itself. What a moron.
What a fool.
Right, I'm going to sneak over there and just do him. Here we go. Bam.
While we're just waiting for the results from Caffeine Dreamer, our amazing community manager with the best hair in the world, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to chat a little bit about a game that was I played the other day. It's not quite a mobile game at all, but I kind of thought maybe it should come over. I played that Divine Cybermancy. Have you heard of that?
I've got no idea what you're talking about.
Divine Cybermancy. I was playing that the other day. It's on Steam, and it's crazy. It's like a sort of pen and paper role playing game, but sci-fi, but also kind of weird and a little bit. It's a little bit much. It's a little bit like fantastical at the same time. Very crazy. Very Norse inspired. Right. Caffeine Dreamer has announced that the winner is Republic by an absolute country mile.
There you go then. Well, congratulations to Republic. You can see reviews for the game, both episodes in fact, up on Pocket Gamer. If you go over to there, I'm sure Danny will throw the links into the chat room. And also you can find our video review, which we posted recently, because we were waiting for the second episode to come out just to make sure it was going to carry on. And also it's very difficult to review episodic content, because there's that, you never quite know whether you should be stepping back, wait for them all to appear, and then look at it as a whole, or whether you're reviewing it chapter by chapter by chapter. And it's sometimes difficult to tell, because without knowing what's coming after it, you don't know whether they're setting something up that's going to pay off later, or whether something is randomly just happening and it's got no link to anything else. So it can be difficult to judge each episode in isolation. But there's video reviews of both up. We gave it a kind of a 3 or a 4. So it has its issues, but it's certainly, it's making some efforts, and for that it should be given some kudos. There is what we said, I think we both said, is there's a good game in here, a really good little game in here, but it needed to polish up some of its movement and hacking elements just to make it just so. But it's emerged winner today by popular public vote, despite a little bit of dissension. So there you go. So thank you for joining us for today's episode of Genre Busters. What kicked this whole thing off at the beginning was talk of the Watch Dogs companion app. Watch Dogs is now available on PC and iPhone, not on iPhone, PC and Xbox and PS3 and PS4 and Xbox One. But also they've released a companion app, which is called ctOS Mobile, which is this thing here, and it allows you to play with people who are in the game itself, in the main console game. Cross-platform play in its truest form.
So we're going to do something fun with that, aren't we?
Yeah, so later on in the week, we're going to post a video up on the App Spy YouTube channel, which is going to show someone playing the game on PC, and then one of us playing the game on iOS, and facing off against one another. So we'll show you directly how those interact and show both screens. And we'll also probably do a little bit of streaming with it if we can get it to work as well later on. So look forward to that later on in the week. But for now, thank you ever so much for joining us for this week's Genre Busters. And come and join us again tomorrow when we will be doing Eye on the App Store and showing you all the new releases that are going to be coming out on Thursday.
Can't wait.
I know, it's exciting stuff, isn't it? So thanks for watching, everybody. Subscribe to this channel for more stuff, and go and hit us up on YouTube as well, and we'll keep you informed. Take it easy. Night-night.